Let's now go live to Canberra, where we can catch up with David Littleproud, the Water Resources Minister. He's fresh from that joint announcement with the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister. Thanks for joining us, David. Are you happy that the Nationals now have had sufficient input into Cabinet and government decisions and that this package is what's required for the moment?
I'm just happy we're supporting the 1.5 million Australians affected by this drought, the nearly 40,000 farmers affected by this drought. That's all that matters to me, Chris. Those people are precious Australians. They do a lot of heavy lifting for our economy. What our job is to do is to support them through some tough times, because we get them through the tough times. It's going to be the economic engine room of this nation moving forward once we get some rain, and we will. We've got to be positive about that. This isn't our first rodeo and it won't be our last. We're putting in place a mechanism to support them with the stimulus and sustainability into the future, but also looking for the future in future droughts. We haven't stood still, and we're backing regional rural Australia to the hilt, and we're going to get through this. We've got to be positive and stick the course.
Well, you're right. It's the substance that matters here, but just if related to that, I suppose, is that question about what's gone on here. It's been very frustrating for people, especially in regional Australia, to see political infighting about who's getting the credit or not for a drought response. So I suppose it was important today, even from that point of view, just to show a united front with the coalition front bench there, Nationals and Liberals, showing that they have a combined approach to this latest tranche of drought assistance.
Oh, totally, Chris. And I mean, we don't get things done unless we work together. We're a team. And while it is good to have diversity of ideas, that builds on the policies that we put out, because we come from a broader cross-section of backgrounds. And that's a good thing, and we should actually hail that. We don't want a cookie-cutter approach. But we have 21 National Party members who live and breathing this drought every day. And they're very proud of what this government's achieved over the last 3 or 4 years with this drought. We haven't just started this in the last couple of months. And I can speak from unique experience. My electorate's been in drought for 8 years. So our drought policy has been in action. And I have to say it was in action before we came to government, and I do acknowledge that. But we built on it, and we made sure there's a strategy of not only the here and now, but also the future. We're the first government to say, let's not just think about how we keep people going now, but what about the future? Not only with the Future Fund, but building water infrastructure that's going to harvest the water, because now's the best time to be digging holes, because when it does rain, we'll need to harvest it and quickly. And finally, we've got some states that are going to show some leadership with us. New South Wales has taken our hand, and I thank them for that. Queensland, sadly, while they're saying they are dragging their heels on a number of projects, because I don't think they really want to commit their money. So they really need to put the shoulder to the wheel in showing they can get the approvals done and get the bureaucracy out of the way and get on with the job.
You mentioned, of course, you've been through this before. The country's been through this before. It's been through it worse. We know we'll go through drought again. I suppose that's what's frustrating looking on, is why don't we have a national drought plan that is on-farm assistance, water management, loan schemes? Why isn't all that in place, ready to kick in any area when a drought is declared?
Well, Chris, with respect, we already do, and in fact all we've done is build on it. The farm household allowance, we have it in 3 pillars. The here and now, the community is the second pillar, and the future. The here and now is about making sure that there's money in farmers' pockets. That's been in place for some time, the farm household allowance. We've complemented that with the Regional Investment Corporation, with concessional loans that are going a step further today, paying no interest, no repayments. We've just built on it again. The Rural Financial Councils have been in place for some time. Our government's put all this in place. We've understood the second pillar about the community is the drought extends past the farm gate. It goes into those local economies. And so we're stimulating those with those packages of the Drought Community Program, building better region funds, even building things around pests and weeds, building dog fences to build resilience. And then the future, as I said, around dams, the Future Fund, $100 million a year. We've got 3 pillars, 3 strong pillars that we've always held our policy around, stuck to, but we've continued to build on it. And that's what good governments do. They evolve with the situation, and we'll have to evolve again if it stays dry.
Yeah, just on that, and finally, Minister, what's the latest word on the rains? We had some good rains across a lot of drought-affected areas earlier in the week. Any word on how that has gone in terms of filling any waterways or dams, and whether there's any hope of follow-up?
No, well, look, obviously we welcome any rain, but there's going to take a lot of rain to get the profile back. I mean, I've got a loosened paddock. I wouldn't let a small child walk over it because of the cracks in it. I'd lose them. It's going to take a lot of rain to get the profile across those subsoil fixed. and then it'll need to flow some rain after that. That'll flow water. So we're a long way off. The Bureau are not saying there's anything imminent, but there's a lot of energy up there, and how that actually disseminates and where that actually lands, it will be what we'll have to keep a watching eye on over the coming couple of months. But the reality is we're planning that it won't rain in terms of our measures, but obviously the only thing that will fix this is rain, and it will come. But we've got to work on the premise that we're going to continue to have to support these communities and these farmers for as long as we need to.
Thanks for joining us, Minister.